Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors could bolster their roster by bringing in a big-sized center who isn't a star but is a solid addition to the rotation. Nick Richards. In 36 games with the Suns, he recorded 9.5 points and 8.6 rebounds, playing 22.7 minutes per game. Richards, a former second-round draft pick, spent the first 5.5 years of his career in Charlotte. While far from an All-NBA caliber center, Richards has become a solid option off the bench in recent seasons. Al Horford isn't the only option the Warriors should consider at center. If the Golden State Warriors are unable to sign Al Horford when the time finally comes, then Nick Richards would be an excellent consolation prize. The logistics of acquiring Richards are a bit more complex, but he has the tools to be an excellent addition to the Warriors' rotation. Richards may not have the championship pedigree or the long list of accolades that Horford brings to the table, but he represents a massive opportunity to improve. Richards has found himself as the odd man out as the Phoenix Suns shift to a youth movement at center. The Suns acquired Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets earlier this summer and selected Kaman Maluak at number 10 overall in the 2025 NBA Draft. With Maluak, Richards, and Williams possessing similar skill sets that may struggle to complement one another during games, it seems unlikely that the trio will be kept together. With this in mind, Golden State has every reason to kick the tires on what it would cost to acquire Richards. That could materialize in the form of a Jonathan Kuminga sign-and trade, albeit while not being built entirely around Richards but instead incorporating him into the return. However it may materialize, Richards can give the Warriors the type of contributions they can only hope to see from the players in place, at a bargain cost. Nick Richards would address several voids for Warriors at center. Richards, 27, is entering the final season of a 3-year, $15 million contract that will pay him a mere $5 million in 2025-26. That low cost is undoubtedly attractive, especially to a Warriors team with massive contracts and a need for future cap relief. It's on the court, however, that Richards' value shines through as a walking double-double who can torment teams on the glass and provide quality two-way contributions. Richards finished the 2024-25 season averaging 9.3 points, 8.2 rebounds, 2.6 offensive boards, and 1.0 block in 22.0 minutes per game. He did so while shooting 59.1% from the field and 74.4% at the free throw line. Richards' numbers translated to compelling marks of 15.2 points, 13.4 rebounds, 4.2 offensive boards, and 1.6 blocks per 36 minutes. Furthermore, Richards ranked number 11 in rebounding percentage, number 13 in defensive rebounding percentage, and number 16 in offensive rebounding percentage. That could prove invaluable to a Warriors team that will need to replace Kevin Looney in 2025-26. An argument can be made that Tracy Jackson-Davis can provide help in those areas, but Richards' superior size and strength at 7 feet 0 inches to 6 feet 9 inches should be considered. Offensively, Richards is an athletic big who can set screens, play above the rim, and create second chances with regularity. Defensively, his shot blocking and rim protection are noteworthy, with opponents shooting 3.6% worse within 6 feet of the rim when Richards is the primary defender. The logistics of a trade would need to be mutually beneficial, but the Warriors can find an ideal backup plan in Phoenix if the Horford pursuit fails to pan out. Stephen Curry says Warriors want to avoid play-in chase this season. Curry says the Warriors want to avoid last year's late-season scramble and focus on being near the top of the West from the jump. The Golden State Warriors are tired of chasing the pack. After a frustrating 2024-25 season that saw them fighting to escape the play-in tournament, Stephen Curry says the team is focused on establishing itself near the top of the Western Conference early. Speaking to NBC Sports Bay Area, Curry reflected on last year's grind and made it clear the Warriors are aiming to pace themselves smarter this time around. "Can you get your identity and your style of play and your team committed to that?" Curry said. "Last year, we were chasing a little towards the end of the year to try and get out of the play-in. Then from there, we gave it a great run in the playoffs, just didn't work out. For Curry, his goal is simple: to maintain consistency throughout the season and put themselves in a position to make a playoff run next spring. Last year, after going 25-26 through the first 51 games, Curry wants to avoid another slow start and stay healthy in the process. Trying to be in a position where we're somewhere at the top of the Western Conference throughout the vibe and not have to be on the gas pedal all the way down the stretch, and hopefully we're all healthy come April, continued Curry. While the start of the regular season is still months away, Curry believes in the success of his group thanks to a veteran, star-studded core that includes Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler. As far as the rest of the roster, it's on the front office to build a rotation that fits around Steph's game. The way our organization is run, me, Draymond, Jimmy, Butler, are trying to make sure we're prepared individually and collectively to lead our team to where we're supposed to go, Curry explained. All that stuff will take care of itself. It's the front office's job to bring the best team back. When September 29th comes around and we're suiting up for practice, we'll be ready. As a 4x champion, 2x MVP, and 11x NBA All-Star, Steph knows success more than most of his peers. With career averages of 24.7 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 6.0 assists per game, he's one of the NBA's many legends and a modern-day hero of the game. At 37 years old, Curry knows the end is near for his basketball journey, but he doesn't want to fade quietly. As he goes into his 17th NBA season, Steph is ready to pick up where he left off last season, when the Warriors went 23-7 to move to 7th in the West. They beat the Houston Rockets in the first round before being eliminated by Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. With Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy, the Warriors certainly have a chance to pull off something special, but they'll need to settle some things before anyone picks them as the favorites in the West. Arguably, the most pressing issue is the ongoing saga with Jonathan Kuminga, who played a notable role in their success last season. Stephen Curry isn't trying to repeat last season's script. He wants the Warriors in control from the start, and that means building consistency, chemistry, and clarity around the roster from day one. If Golden State can stay healthy, settle the Kuminga situation, and establish an identity early, they'll have a real shot to avoid the chaos of the play-in. And with Curry, Green, and Butler leading the charge, no one's counting them out. Warriors Kuminga drama predicted to end in stunning twist. How the long-drawn stalemate between the Golden State Warriors and restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga ends is anyone's guess. For now, the Warriors remain dug in, unwilling to surrender full control of Kuminga's future. But Bleacher Report's Dan Favale predicts the franchise will eventually cave, not the 22-year-old forward. One of these sides is going to blink first. And it's going to be the Warriors, Favale wrote. The contract standoff. The battle centers around one clause, who controls the second year of a 2-year, $45 million contract. Golden State insists it must be a team option. Kuminga and his camp are pushing for a player option, which would allow him to hit free agency as soon as 2026. Letting Kuminga sign his qualifying offer would be disastrous, Favale warned. He would be freshly angry and have the right to veto any trade, and his next team wouldn't own his bird rights. That eliminates any possibility of Golden State receiving adequate compensation for his services. Kuminga's threat to sign the $7.9 million qualifying offer looms over the negotiations. If he follows through, the Warriors risk losing a former number 7 pick for nothing next summer. Favale's prediction is simple: the Warriors will give in and grant the player option. Short of juicing his annual salary into the $30 million range, a 2-year contract with a team option will end up being out of the question, Favale wrote. Prediction: Jonathan Kuminga re-signs with the Warriors on a 2-year, $45 million deal, with a player option for 2026-27. A game of leverage. NBA insider Jake Fisher previously reported that stance earlier this month, noting that Kuminga's camp is ready to accept the current offer if Golden State flips the second year in his favor. I think Jonathan Kuminga's side would take this 1+1 situation, if he were to get a player option in year 2, Fisher said on the NBA Insider Notebook livestream on August 7. But I was told yesterday, August 6, from various sources that Golden State is going to be holding firm that the second year is going to be a team option. And that's kind of where the staring contest is at. The issue is leverage. A player option means no team would trade meaningful assets for Kuminga without a long-term commitment. A team option, meanwhile, gives the Warriors control and flexibility in trade talks. That control has already shaped conversations. Golden State has been holding out for an unprotected first-round pick and a quality rotation player. Trade market still circling. Multiple teams have tested Golden State's resolve. The Sacramento Kings dangled Malik Monk and a protected first, per The Athletic's Sam Amick, while the Phoenix Suns pitched Royce O'Neal, Nick Richards and a stockpile of second-rounders, per Anscape's Mark J. Spears. Both packages were turned away. Even the Milwaukee Bucks checked in, but backed off after the Warriors asked for Bobby Portis, per ClutchPoint's Brett Siegel. For now, the trade market is frozen by the same stalemate stalling Kuminga's contract. Teams won't overpay without clarity on his future, and the Warriors won't back down unless the risk of losing him becomes too great. Who blinks first? Kuminga's future in Golden State hangs on a single detail that neither side seems ready to compromise on. The Warriors believe team control is essential. Kuminga's camp sees a player option as non-negotiable. Favale predicts the Warriors will fold. But the question remains, will they stubbornly call Kuminga's bluff, or risk losing him for nothing? Warriors youngster reveals obvious improvement area ahead of contract call. And it's what fans will want to hear. Alex Tui has a lot to work on based off an underwhelming summer league campaign for the Golden State Warriors, yet the Australian forward will leave no stone unturned in trying to make himself into an NBA player. In fact, it's not his shooting, finishing, dribbling or defense that's the top priority for Tui, it's simply adjusting to the pace of the NBA game after 2 years with the Sydney Kings in the NBL. Alex Tui is focusing on his conditioning this offseason. Tui did look a step slow at times during Summer League, which is understandable given the change in competition combined with some nerves in wearing the Warrior jersey for the first time after being taken 52nd overall in June's NBA draft. The 21-year-old averaged 6.8 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 1.2 steals in 21.6 minutes per game during Summer League, with his best performance coming in a 15-point display against the Utah Jazz where he went toe-to-toe with MVP Kyle Filipowski. Speaking with ESPN's Olgan Yolik in a recent interview, Tui identified his conditioning as the biggest area he'll be focusing on heading into his rookie year. You can never really be in the best shape. You can always be in better shape. I'm making sure I nail that before I get over there, making sure that, when you're playing, you can't get tired. I think that raises every level. It raises your decision-making, the longer you can stay fit and keep your mind engaged, Tui said. What Tui says makes a lot of sense, particularly in a Warrior system where their ball and player movement requires both quick foot speed and endurance combined with split-second decision-making and total attentiveness. It's also refreshing to hear a young player focus straight on their physical conditioning, rather than simply dive into the specific skill sets they need to work on. It's obvious really when young players are being forced to jump into grueling 82-game regular seasons, having come from the collegiate system or other professional leagues like the NBL where Tui played 57 total games over the last 2 years. Whether Tui makes it as an NBA player remains to be seen, but it's clear as to why the Warriors would have been impressed with his attitude and work ethic, which could take him a long way in what is hopefully a 10-12+ year career. Before then, Golden State still need to make a contract call on the 6'8" forward, with Tui still expected to sign a 2-way deal with the franchise, which would likely see him start out the season getting plenty of reps in the G League with Santa Cruz.